If you look, you can see there are holes right here and here and there and there. Those are the ethmoid sinuses. Now, I don't have a maxillary bone, so I can't show you the maxillary sinus, but I can show you the frontal sinus is right here, and the sphenoid sinus is right here. Okay. Then we have concha. So this is the inferior concha, that's a separate bone, and this is the middle concha and the superior concha. External nares. Oh boy. Now, over here on this, we have the hyoid bone, right? Thyroid cartilage, which we used to call Adam's apple. Then this is a cricoid cartilage right here. And the cricoid goes all the way around. It's the only one that goes all the way around. So if you look at the posterior side, this is the cricoid right here. Okay? And the cricoid cartilage is important because the muscles that move the vocal cords attach to it. And because the cricoid is a complete circle, when the vocal cord muscles contract, the cricoid doesn't move. But the other end that goes to the arytenoid cartilage, they move. So if you look at this, these are the arytenoid cartilages. Okay. And they move when these muscles contract. And those are supposed to be the vocal cords there. And this is epiglottic cartilage. So when you swallow, the larynx moves superiorly, and this comes down and covers the glottis so that food won't go into your trachea. Okay, and then these are the horns of the thyroid cartilage. Here's the cricoid on the posterior side here. And you see the cartilaginous rings of the trachea are not complete rings. They're C-shaped rings, right? So they're open back here. They have dense connective tissue connecting them. And what was the advantage of that?
When you swallow, food can be, well, the esophagus can
The esophagus can push into that space. And so you might think if it pushes into that space, then that means it's going to be hard to breathe. Is that a problem when you swallow?
You're not breathing when you swallow?
You don't breathe when you swallow. So if you collapse the trachea, it really doesn't make any difference. Okay? Yeah, so then we have that's the larynx, then we have the trachea, and then these are the primary bronchi. So this would be the right primary bronchus, this would be the left primary bronchus, right?
Yep.
And then they go to secondary bronchi, and there'll be a secondary bronchus for each lobe of the lung. So this one's going to the superior lobe, and this is going to inferior lobe on the left. And then this is going to the superior, middle, and inferior lobe on the right. Okay. Then the lung, if this were tagged, again we have the bronchi and the trachea here, right? So this is trachea. Here's the carina. I mentioned that, the inferiormost cartilaginous ring of the trachea. And then this would be the left primary bronchus, and this would be the right primary bronchus. And the blue vessels are
Pulmonary
arteries, and the red vessels,
pulmonary
veins, yeah. And you can't see alveoli in here, but you can see the lobes on this one, right? So this is the right lung, so we have the superior lobe, inferior lobe, and the middle lobe. And if you look from the posterior side, if you remember in that picture, I said you can't see the middle lobe. It's because the inferior lobe is covering it. But it's there. It's just not anterior to this. Okay. I think that's most of the model stuff. There's some stuff there on that. You can see the external intercostal muscles on that model. If you look, and if you look right here, there's a muscle that's going obliquely this way, right there. So you guys can't see it for all over there.
Ooh, nice.
So if you see right here, this muscle going this way. So it's slanting like this. That's the external intercostal. The external intercostal elevates the ribs when it contracts. So when you elevate the ribs, which is due to your lung volume,
Lower pressure?
it lowers pressure because the volume increases. When the volume increases, the pressure drops, right? And if the pressure drops, and you have your mouth open or your nose open, what happens?
Air goes in?
Air goes from
High to
high
low.
pressure to low pressure, high pressure outside, low pressure inside, air comes in. Now, you can't see it because, oh yeah, you can see. So deep to the external intercostal is the internal intercostal. Its fibers going this way. You guys see that? Everybody see that? So when that contracts, it depresses the lung. When the lungs depress, what happens to the volume of the lung? When the thoracic wall depresses, what happens to the lung volume? Decreases, because when that depresses, it squeezes the lungs.
Yep.
So that means the pressure in the lungs will go
Up,
up.
out.
And if the pressure is up here and out low out here, then air goes out.
Out.
Right. Now, the diaphragm, we can probably see in this model. Let's see what we can do. Because I might have to tag it. I think Tosin said she wanted to tag it.
Oh, I plead the fifth.
What's that?
I plead the fifth.
Oh, no, everything's gone inside.
Minister, I don't want to-
There's a diaphragm here.
Yeah, let me see what else I can find. This is the psoas major, and that's the iliacus, and they come together to form the iliopsoas. But, yeah. Okay, let me see what else. This doesn't show you much here. So did you see? And this one you can see the left lung. So
Wow.
I'm so short now. So this is the
Left.
Superior.
superior lobe of
Superior
the
lung.
left lung, and this is the inferior lobe of
Inferior.
the left lung. See, there's a line going right across here. Okay.
Yep, separates.
And then this is superior, middle,
Middle,
inferior
inferior.
lobe, right lung. So if we get this out, this one works pretty well. The one in Newport falls all apart every time you touch it. Let's see if we can get the cover.
Oh, my heart.
Uh,
He said something.
There we go. Okay, this is awesome. So just like the Temple of Doom when we ripped that heart right out of him. So this is the diaphragm here, and this is the diaphragm here, right?
Yep.
And then this is the
Central
central tendon. If you remember in the pictures, remember the diaphragm has a bulge that goes superior on the right side and inferior on the left,
Yeah.
and that was because of the
Heart.
heart. So the heart takes up more space over here. Okay. And then up here we have the primary bronchus, and some of that stuff is missing. I don't know what that's not part of what I took out. Okay, and the liver, I won't ask you lobes of the liver on the human, and that's all in the next practical anyway. So really the only thing you have to worry about is that, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we got the lobes, all right?
Yep.
All right, let's see if I can find the piece that's missing here. There we go. This really fits nicely. So if you have your superior lobe of the left lung removed, you lose about 26% of your lung volume. It's pretty close to a quarter of your lung volume. And the middle lobe on the right side is the smallest of all the lobes, although the inferior lobe on the left is pretty close to that.
But this one that takes all the fluid that goes down by accident.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think
Or
it'd probably
food.
be more likely to go into the inferior and middle lobes because that one, the bronchus that goes to this goes superiorly.
Yeah.
Same thing for this one, turns superiorly a little bit. So I'd expect things to go down into these. Be better not to do that. All right. I think we got that pretty well, huh? And this one has all the concha. Yeah, that's not much else here. I think, between these and those models, we should be good. Okay?